Marvel, this is how you balance humor with whatever you're doing. These guys who made this film did not forget what they were making. They did not swap it. They did not experiment by changing everything to fit a certain vibe. This Scream, they never forget who they are. They never forgot their roots, which is what is exactly Marvel is doing. They're forgetting their roots. I mean, you're supposed to be funny, but you're not supposed to be funny and forget who you are. Scream knows exactly what they were doing. They know the kind of movie that they were making. I think they studied the first Scream movie. I think they understood the assignment. This movie, this Ghostface feels like the Terminator. These ghost faces feel like this Terminator and this particular Terminator, but they were instructed to kill with a knife. You know, they are ruthless, they are relentless. They are what if you watch this channel, you know I usually talk about one thing, which is entertainment value. I don't care whether the script works, I don't care whether the screenplay was perfect, I don't care if the writing was good, I don't care if the performance was good. The most important things was I entertained. Did I find value for what I paid for? Did I walk out of that cinema and go like, I really enjoyed that? Did I go out there into the world and told my friend, yo dude, you gotta see this film, it's perfect? That's what I usually look for in a movie. But in this particular movie, I was entertained, but not entertained in a good way. You know, the different ways that you can be entertained. I was terrified, but entertained at the same time. This movie made me uncomfortable. The last movie that did that in the Scream franchise was the first Scream, because I don't know what was happening. This one, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't even watch the trailers because I thought it was going to be a bad movie. I thought it was going downhill after Scream 5. I was so sure that they were going to blow this because, as we've learned, history patterns. When a movie does Halloween, look at what they did with the Halloween 2018. After the next Halloween, they didn't make a good movie, so I thought it was going to be the same for this film. So I didn't bother looking at the trailer. I just looked at the poster, which has one of the best names on a poster ever, like Scream, and then the M is equals to 6. That is fantastic. That's all I saw. I never watched the trailer, so when I was going in, I was fresh. And from the word go, this movie is different. From the word go, from the premise, from the movie begins differently. And you know, when it ends, there's nothing new. You expect the same plot twist as the same plot twist in every Scream, and this one had its own plot twist and some things that happen, and you go like, how is that even possible? But yes, this is a very different film. It feels different. It feels, the pacing is fantastic. I didn't feel the time. Now the kills, I keep talking. I don't know if I talked about the Terminator. I don't know if I said this particular Ghostface doesn't mess around, man. I consider him to be the Terminator, man. I consider him to be like he in terms of Ghostfaces, this particular Ghostface ranks up there. For me, he was the most vicious. This Ghostface was the most vicious, the most ruthless Ghostface I've seen so far. He's up there. He's number one. Now, when you think Scream, you think of three things. Number one, black outfit. Number two, white mask. Number three, phone, a telephone. Oh, the fourth thing I think I should add is blood. I've seen blood in a lot of movies. I've seen blood in a lot of Scream movies. I've seen CGI blood. I've seen prosthetic blood in all these movies, and they are all well done. But I don't know what they did with the blood in this particular movie. Why? Number one, the texture. Number two, the behavior of the blood. The person who was responsible for the blood in this film nailed it. I've never seen a movie that pays attention to blood like this movie did. I mean, the way it holds to the cloth. I mean, the way the blood behaves, the texture, the way it sticks, after it dries, the way it behaves, how it looks. I don't know if it's the color grading team, but the blood in this movie was on the knives. It just looks like blood. It looks and feels like blood. That's why I'm saying this movie made me uncomfortable. It's one of those few movies that reminds you how brutal a knife can be. and the consequences of actually getting stabbed or something. Something else interesting that they did. You know, in movies when you get stabbed, people immediately die. Like, oh, then you see someone holding their stomach and then they die. This one goes to show you that, you know, when you get stabbed, yes, you go into shock, but you don't die immediately. You just don't die. You just don't get stabbed and die. You can get stabbed multiple of times. You experience a lot of pain. You go into shock, but you do not die immediately. Unless you're stabbed in the heart. The idea of a stabbing is that you usually bleed out. So it will be talking about this. You'll bleed out and die, but it will take more time. It's not something that happens immediately. And I like the fact that they actually worked around that and made something good out of that, and made us some things, let it just be real, some things were unbelievable, but some stabbing that happened, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You can actually survive from that. You can't just die immediately after you get stabbed like that. Overall, the story, if you haven't seen the 4th Scream and the 5th Scream, you might have a challenge. Let me put it that way. You might have a bit of a challenge because it ties into the previous film, and some characters from the 4th film and the first, like some legacy characters are still there, but there are characters from the 4th film and the 5th film and a few other new characters. So if you haven't watched the 4th and the 5th, you may have a challenge with them. Now, I had a difficult time when they were introducing something, despite the fact that they explained them to us and tried to make it as easy as possible for us to remember. The fact that they tried to tie in everything with the meta conversation, I still got lost. I still found it hard to actually follow. But generally, everything made sense. I was entertained and had a fantastic time. I actually give this a 4 out of 5 in terms of a movie. In terms of just a good random movie that you can watch on Saturday afternoon or on Sunday afternoon, I give this a 4. In terms of a Scream movie, I would give it a 3.5 because it was unnecessarily brutal. This is like Scream, but they put Ghostface on. Okay, but it actually makes sense for some characters to be vengeful and to be brutal because it's coming from someone and it's a part of the story. The anger, the hate, the need to actually make sure someone is dead comes from someone, and it's explained. But man, it was just so brutal. It just felt it was more of an overkill, and for me, it just gave me a dark feel about just killing, you know, and I was like, that's a negative for me. You know, you can go on your killing spree, but yes, there are some creative, really good killing, but just, you know, tone down everything. Just take a step back, man. Let's just have fun with this. Like, it doesn't have to be so, you know, like a guy gets stabbed and then simply you just have to like drive the knife. You're like, come on, let's just hold on a bit, man. Let's just take a back step, man. Let's just try to be easy. Let's try to be cool. So those were some of the things that I was having a challenge with this film. Now, something else that got me off guard is how they changed the premise. So now it was actually in New York, and the one thing that I did not like and I totally hate about these horror movies is when they decide, I don't know why it has to be college students, man. I expected them to take it to another level. Maybe just I love the New York premise. I love that. I love the train scene, but college, I don't know what the obsession is with college students and actually killing college students, but every time I see college students in a horror movie, I usually see a scapegoat because there's always the excuse that these are young people, they are uninformed, they are unruly, they will make stupid mistakes, and that can be put into a script and, you know, justify some stupid things that the characters do. So I was kind of, you know, it's okay, it's fine, it's cool. I love what they did with it, but wow, it's like teenagers, people just love watching teenagers die. If you don't love tension, if you don't love anxiety, if you have a problem with anxiety, if you can't stand seeing people getting stabbed, if you just generally don't love horror, this is not the movie for you. This is a very entertaining film, but it's also a very terrifying movie. It will make you uncomfortable. It will actually, you'll sit on the edge of your seats throughout the movie. That's what happened to me. The plot twists are there, like 1,000,001. This twist after twist after twist after twist, then the big one, and you're like, what? You're like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, okay. You're like, okay, I'll forgive everything else, but okay, I can see why sometimes the killings are so brutal. I understand why, but some plot twists are like, how is that even possible? You know, how can you get stabbed like that and still, you know, come out the other end and actually make a joke about it? You know, the movie also covers something to do with social media. Now I'm starting to remember small things that actually made me smile. Cyberbullying, how the internet makes us behave. Let me put it that way. The kind of stupid things that we do on the internet and the things that come out of the internet, especially the bullying part, especially people just saying stupid, dumb stuff about things that they do not understand, and especially movements happening from social media. I think that was also some really interesting part of this film that you may like or may not like. So yeah, this is a 4.5 in terms of just generally a film. This is a very good, well-directed film. One of the best opening ever, if you've ever watching a Scream movie. But generally, it's well-directed. The pacing is awesome. They just know how to keep the tension. The tension was there throughout. The tension was so well done that it just made you. It went like tense, anxiety, then uncomfortable. Let me just put it that way. And it actually worked very well. So if you have your weekend off, you have a bit of cash, it's worth it. You don't have to wait for it to come out or in streaming. It works very, very well. I don't think small screen, it wouldn't make any difference, but the cinema experience works perfectly because of the sound and the picture. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Subscribe.